Awesome. All right, so today we have with us Alina Engibaryan, a jazz singer and composer. How are you, Alina?
I'm great, thank you.
So for our viewers who are maybe not familiar with your music, with you, they don't know who you are, maybe give us a quick bio. Who is Alina for our viewers?
Well, I am, as you said, a jazz singer, and I call myself a jazz singer, although I'm not really singing jazz as much right now. But
Okay.
I'm a jazz singer slash keyboard player, and I compose my own music, I arrange music, and I do music since I'm 5 years old. I went to
Okay.
a jazz music school since I was five, and
Wow.
my whole life is connected to, music. So yeah, now I'm 27 and I never stopped learning and playing.
Amazing, amazing. So you mentioned that you're a piano player and a singer. Do you consider yourself more of a piano player who sings or a singer who plays piano? What's your primary instrument?
I always did both, but I still consider myself more of a singer piano player rather than the other way around,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I never really thought that I'm going to be doing both, until that record came out. We Are.
Yeah.
um, Michael League was
Mhm.
pushing me to do both, and he was like, "What's the point of hiring a piano player who's going to play exactly the same stuff?" Because I write very specific. Yeah, so he kind of pushed me outside of the comfort zone to really do those things together. But before that, I was just doing it, in school concerts and, sometimes on a session, but not really. No, I was always singing and thinking that the piano is just an instrument that's going to help me learn more things.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Okay. You also won the 2015 Cher Montreal music competition. Is that correct?
Right.
So maybe
Yes.
tell us a bit about that experience. How were the other competitors? Do you still talk to some of them?
It was a really great experience. It was a scary experience, definitely, because of the level of the
Oh yeah.
competition. And the jury were the people that I was always looking up to. Al Giro was the chair of
Okay.
the head jury. So we didn't know when we were applying who was going to be judging the whole competition. And when I found out that it was Al Giro, to me, my heart kind of dropped because I grew up listening to him, and my whole family was listening to him
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
I was a little kid. So it was a very, very, very important step for me, just to even perform there and meet him. And then other competitors, of course, were great, and some of us are still in touch. It's definitely hard because everybody is really far away from each other. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about this competition, is that it's international. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
was one of the most important ideas of me going there, is not winning, although it happened, which is a dream come true. But the whole goal was just to kind of, I hate this word, but for the sake of exposure, and just see what other people are up to around the world.
Right.
So it definitely kind of pushes you to see what's up. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody were amazing. And then after that, whoever were the finalists, we were lucky enough to go to the Montreal Jazz Academy, which was like a week,
Oh.
1 week program with all of, because there was, I think they canceled the competition. So I'm very fortunate that, I still caught that time. But
Yeah.
it used to be guitar, piano, and voice competition, only 3 instruments. And then there was other, which is like, it could be anything. It could be a group, it could be one artist, but it didn't have really a genre or any specific, as far as I remember.
Okay.
So every instrument had 3 finalists, and so all of those 3 instruments. So it was 9 of us, including that one special prize person.
Mhm.
So we all were for a week in that academy, and our teachers were people who play there and who judged competition. So Al Giro was one of the guest teachers, and then Kurt Rosenwinkel, Joe Sanders, and etc. All of them were incredible to work with and to study with, and it was a very great eye-opening moment of my life for sure. So I'm really happy. Even though it was scary, I'm so happy and I don't regret at all doing it, you know,
Yeah,
going through that
100%.
stress.
Yeah, yeah. But now I'm sure that gave you more confidence in your musical abilities to express yourself much more easily, maybe in front of, you know, you can play in front of anyone now, and you're not maybe gonna
I,
get
I,
nervous.
I don't think so. I don't think those type of things give you more or less confidence, you know, because it what is competition in music anyways, you know? How
I
can
know.
you really judge? Everybody's so unique and different. That's
It's,
why
yeah,
my goal wasn't winning, you know? Even
right.
if I would lose, other people would win who would be also talented. I mean, I'm very happy and proud that I did. So I'm not trying to, you know, because we're also like, oh, it doesn't matter.
No,
To
no,
me
but
it doesn't matter.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it was a very hard thing,
Well, yeah, me
like
too.
mentally.
Mentally, right. Well, again, it's and the reason I don't really watch those musical competition shows is how can one person judge apples and oranges and compare them, you know? At the
Exactly.
same time,
You know, we're all so different.
but if we didn't have that platform, maybe you wouldn't have new listeners or, you know, people getting into your music. So there's that
Right,
too.
right. No, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll segue to the next question, which is, who are some of your musical influences? Maybe the people that influence you the most. Um, you know.
There are a lot. There are definitely a lot of people who influence me, and Algero was one of them. Also, like I definitely am super lucky to call him a mentor, you know, and I miss him dearly. Kurt Elling, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
is one of my biggest inspirations. My teacher, J.D. Walter, was a very important mentor of my life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I would call those people my influences because they also influenced me in life and I had interaction with them. Because if I
Okay.
start calling everybody I listen to, it's gonna be a couple of hours, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alex Supiagin, you know, he's a great trumpeter, and we did a lot of projects together. And every time you learn so much from him, you know, he's a great freaking workaholic that writes music all the time, and
And
it's
stuff.
very, you know, possessive, if I can say that word.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are a lot,
There are a
honestly.
lot.
I was really lucky to have Kendrick Scott and Chris Potter and
Yeah,
Michael League for sure. Michael League
yeah,
was a guy who did so many eye-opening things in my life, you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Starting with the record, I don't know. The first performance we had together was
It
in a
just
very
clicked.
Hmm?
It clicked,
Yeah,
right?
it was like it wasn't about you anymore, and that was one of my favorite things, you know, because a
Mm,
lot of musicians are really into, you know, presenting themselves, which is important, but the way he presents music goes first. And then, you know,
yeah,
once you start thinking about it this way, you are not nervous all of a sudden, and things just priorities change and the music sound different.
I
He's
got
just so, yeah, he's a very special person, so I definitely call him as one of my top mentors as
it.
well.
Well, for me, living in Montreal, I would get grilled alive if I didn't ask you, did Oscar Peterson have any influence on you as a piano player?
I mean, he's definitely on, you know, one of the top players on my piano player list, you know. I never really, I can't really highlight who's my favorite because
Okay,
I love him. I love him so much.
right.
Currently, closest to my heart is probably Taylor Ice-T, you know, and
Mhm.
I look up to him a lot because of his sound, his ideas, his creativity, and
Mm,
compositions, everything about it, you know, just
mhm.
always touches me. And then whenever I listen to people like Bill Lawrence from Snarky Puppy, you know, this guy always
Yeah,
touches me. And the way he just takes care of music while he plays is beautiful.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I definitely love Oscar Peterson. I love McCoy Tyner. I think like chord wise, I was looking up to McCoy a lot,
okay.
especially when I was like geeking out over standards and stuff. I would always think, oh, how McCoy would play it, you know, Herbie Hancock. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I really love George Duke's playing as well because he also sang. So the way he highlighted his voice while he was singing was just something I always kind of, you know, had my ear open to because, you know, I think stylistically, I learn a lot of. Still, I am revisiting his music a lot to grab some ideas, you know, and
Yeah, for sure.
influence myself with him.
For sure. And talking about compositions, I wanted to ask you, what is usually your songwriting process? How does it work? How do you come up with an idea, put it on paper? What do you do usually?
I don't think I have a routine, and it's a very, you know, like I get this question a lot, and I
Mhm.
never really have a same answer because I think the process constantly keeps evolving. Is that a
Okay.
word?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Most of the times I would sit down and start writing chords because, you know, I would like mess around on the piano and then something would come up and I always try to fall in love with one idea before I move on, you know, because then
Hmm.
it means it's honest
Yes.
most of the time. So once that kind of comes up, I'm trying to, it always starts with a mood, to be honest, because if I'm not really trying, or if I don't have to say, if I don't have anything to say, then
Mm-hmm.
it's harder to start writing, you know, then it's
Yes.
just like kind of writing out of your, you know, whatever. So I always try to sit down with a purpose, or if I'm in a certain mood. I often write when I'm feeling down, which
Hmm.
is not really a good thing, but you know, we're
A
all
lot of
humans,
minor keys.
everybody. Yeah, even if it's, you know, it can be a major key, but the story can be really touching. So I definitely want to make sure that there is a message before I really sit down and say something, because then it filters out a lot of, I'll say kind of silly, but it filters out a lot of unnecessary chords or melody patterns and stuff. You know,
Yes.
you're immediately narrowing your options down and just mess around with the chord, come up with a pattern. If a melody is like super obvious there, then it's just kind of the puzzle shows the whole picture slowly but surely. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes I write a lyric first and then I'm again thinking of a mood, what chord would work on certain word, you know, and kind of
So you switch it
that's probably, yeah, it's similar, but I just try to switch it around just to keep it interesting for myself, you know, because everybody have their own ways of writing. Some people are amazing writers, but when they share their tips, I'm like, I can't really relate to it, you know. And then if I start using those tips, completely different music can come out of me, but I might not really resonate, you know.
Yeah, you want to keep it authentic as well.
Yeah, and especially, you know, like singing to me is so important that I can somehow relate to the lyrics, or if I can't, like if I didn't live that story, that I'm able to deliver it somehow, you know, because a lot of people ask me, well, what if you can't really relate to the lyric and stuff?
Hmm.
And that happens too, but then, you know, we're kind of privileged to have that tool to deliver a story rather than, you know, a saxophone player just plays the melody. It's you know, it's different,
Hmm.
and there are great people who can deliver that too, but I'm just saying we're fortunate to have that cheating kind of shortcut, you know, using lyrics. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting away of your out of your question.
No, it's I get what you're saying. It's clear communication as well. It's easier for the listener to understand because you're actually saying words, you know?
Right,
Um,
right.
and well, I guess the next question here would be more for the musicians. I know that you love playing the Fender Rhodes keyboard, classic sound. Um,
Sorry.
uh, there you go.
Yeah, my
So,
battery. I'm gonna connect while you're asking a question, but I'm here.
no problem. What is it that you love most about the Fender Rhodes keyboard?
Um, you know, it was kind of the way it started was almost an I hate to say that, but it was almost an accident because
Really?
uh, in the studio where that Michael used to have, all of our writing sessions started on Fender Rhodes.
Oh.
So he was like, I kind of like the sound. I think it suits your voice. And I was like, I kind of start getting used to it too, because, you know, another cool tip for that worked for me for composing was just messing around with different sounds. You know, it kind of opens your ears in a very weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm trying to kind of
You got it.
put that. iPad so it doesn't fall, but maybe I need to do
Oh,
this.
that's better, actually.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we just kind of started writing more stuff on it, and then it seemed like frequency wise, I don't know if it makes sense, but kind of frequency wise, it kind of complimented.
Yeah,
That's
like in
gonna
the mix.
sound like a like a compliment, but no, it did match frequency wise, you know. It didn't interrupt each other, which was kind of cool. And you know, I was listening to so much Herbie at the moment of writing for the record that I was like, I really want that sound, you know. But that's why when we were also mixing it, you know, we wanted to use Rhodes and just like reverb it a little bit. And then Michael also wanted to put reverb on my voice, but I was like, I want to keep my voice like
Dry.
as if I would sing into your ear, you know, or like
Yeah.
anybody. So I wanted completely dry just to have that difference, you know, like this washy kind of reverby, because I hate reverb.
And
Now I'm kind of getting, you know, I'm getting closer to it, but I used to hate the guts of reverb.
reverb is more forgiving, that's for sure. You could easily go.
I feel like you cheat when you use reverb on your voice. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep it as natural as possible, just so when people hear me live, they're not like,
It's
that's a
no
different
different from the
person.
album.
You know, that's why I love when people come up to me and they're like, you sound like your record. And I was like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. You know, it's not supposed to be different. So, but yeah, I just love the sound. I mostly use on my shows Rhodes if it's available, because, you know, it's a tough thing to find sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Uh, or Nord. I love
Okay.
Nord.
More do you like
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
But on GroundUp, last festival that I did, unfortunately Rhodes was broken,
uh,
and they found out like an hour before the show.
oh my God, what a
So
nightmare.
there was definitely no way to rent another instrument. And you know, the music is, it's not really like grand piano-ish. If you, I mean, you can, but if you use it, it kind of changes the whole vibe. So
Yeah.
we started running around all the platforms, you know, because there are multiple stages,
Mm,
platforms, stages. And backstage, we checked all the possible options, and you know, there was none because everything was already set up for the next band on the next stage.
right.
So I was like really stressed out, and it started pouring cats and dogs. It was raining really hard. And I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm just going to play on piano. And the night before that, Michael McDonald had his show, and he played the whole show on grand piano, which sounded incredible because you know, I love his music. I love him. And I was like, you know what? It's gonna sound good. Michael McDonald did it yesterday. It was incredible. I'm gonna try and do something similar. And I think the fact that I heard the show before his show kind of like made me feel cool about.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great grand piano. I sound like a complete like, oh my gosh, it wasn't fine. It was great, but I'm just saying,
I get what you're.
sound wise, I definitely wasn't used to it. But I think it still worked out, and I had a lot of fun. So I think there are going to be more things also with piano
Yeah, I don't
in the
know.
future.
I was gonna ask you. Your first album was more grand piano-ish because it was more traditional jazz, right? What
Right,
prompted
yeah.
the change in sound to a more modern sound? What pushed you to do something different, maybe in that regard?
Well, you kind of said it, you know, the other record definitely was much more traditional. And the music producers on that record was Alex Sipagin, the trumpeter, and the piano player Misha Tsiganov. I
Mm,
didn't play on that record, by the way, just to make it clear.
yeah.
Um, and they they brought a lot of their music, and I just wrote lyrics. So there was, I think, only one original on that record.
Oh, really?
And yeah, Love Song, which
I
also
knew. Yeah.
reappeared in the next record. But yes, we just wanted to have a record together, you know. And then they were like, since you wrote all the lyrics, you know, let's just sing it on your record.
Mhm.
So we did. And when I was doing record already on GroundUp, the whole idea, the main idea was to have as many original songs as possible. So when we spoke with Michael, I was like, my music is not really jazz though, you know, and he's like, that's okay, you know, we'll think of it. I mean, I'm gonna play electric most likely, you know, or Moog. So
Yeah.
it kind of automatically, when we started messing around with my tunes and I was showing him all of my ideas on the computer, which were like 100 of little snippets, you know, of like 5 seconds to 15 minutes, it all was very different. It kind of automatically was clear that it's not going to be a jazz record slash, you know, using a more classic sounding instrument. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Well, speaking of ground up, who are some of your favorite fellow, I guess, artists on that label? Who are you listening to?
You know, it's almost like you're asking who's my favorite sister or brother. They're very, very different. They're
Yeah,
super different, and all of them are incredibly talented in so many different ways. You know, like I really can't like pick and point favorites. They're all extremely talented in very different ways. You know, when I was listening to like Banda Magda, you know, their music is very like different, you know, it's very special. Then you listen to Tip, and her
oh yeah,
music is like really electronic, and you know, she's great with using effects, and you know, there's completely different world. And then you go and you listen to, I don't know, Becca Stevens, or you know, Crosby. It's very, very different. So I can't really, I
mm,
think each of the artists on the label is very different and unique in their own way. And I think that was the whole idea of Michael, to just have this family of very different people.
yeah.
So, and then you go and you listen to Breastfist, that's complete party, you know, and it's just like crazy. So yeah, they're very different. I definitely checked out all of the records, you know, that were on the label. It's family. I can't pick and choose.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. And as we know, you've collaborated with my colleague in the past. He played on every song on We Are. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I played on Rhodes, and then we had guest uh, pianist Taylor Icy, who is definitely one of probably my favorite right now. Yeah, he played all of the solos, completely nailed every song that he was on. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, but yeah, I played the rest of the music, which
Yeah.
is every. I mean, yeah.
And how exactly did you meet Michael, my colleague?
When I lived in I lived in Netherlands for 5 years
Okay.
because I was in school
Mm,
in Prince Claus Conservatory, and right next to that conservatory there was this amazing venue. It's called the Osterpoort,
okay.
and they were performing with puppies there, and my friend got me tickets, actually a bunch of my friends, and they were like, yeah, you should definitely. I was like, yeah, get me a ticket, you know, we're going.
Yeah.
So we went to see them, and after the show, we were these crazy, you know, inspired kids. All of a sudden, you know, I found out that there's this great band, and we met Michael, and Michael is the sweetest person ever. So he's like, yeah, guys, we're like hungry, so we're gonna go to this like bar, you know, join us.
Yeah.
And I remember we all went, you know, because everybody wanted to continue to, because we immediately had 1,000 questions, you know, like these
Of
crazy
course.
kids and stuff. And Michael was like, yeah, just, you know, tag along, we're gonna continue the conversation. So I remember me and Michael were the only people who weren't drinking, so we definitely had this deep conversation about music. And then he was like, just send me whatever you're working on. And I was like, oh my gosh, Michael, you send me. And I was sure that he's never gonna check it, because I know he's definitely one of the busiest people ever.
For sure.
And then I sent it to him and I never heard back, and I was like, I mean, I wasn't even mad, because I was like,
You
this is
understand.
totally normal. Yeah.
Mm.
But then like a year after, he hits me up and he's like, hey, Alina, I'm going to be at this festival in Netherlands. Would you like to sing with me a couple of songs? And I was like crying, and, you know, I was very surprised that he even remembered. And yeah, he arranged I'll Be Around. He arranged strings for it, because I sent him the arrangement, the reharm I did.
Hmm.
That's why, you know, we wanted to keep it on the record, because it was the first song that we together arranged. Yeah, and he arranged a couple of more tunes, and we had trio plus string quartet. on that festival, and then we played also with a big band. I think we played "Come Running to Me" by Herbie Hancock,
Okay.
which was super fun. Yeah, and then that's how we like that was our first collaboration. And after that, he was like, "Yeah, you should definitely move to US. You know, I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna do something more music together. You know, we're gonna do something on the label." And then when I graduated, my first thing was moving to US. You know,
Oh,
so
that's exciting.
yeah.
So, how do you like New York? What do you think of New York, of the East Coast?
I love New York. I think it's one of the best places to learn about music. You know, I definitely think for me it was important to move to United States in order to learn about the music that I'm so in love with. You know, what's going on there right now? I'm worried and happy that this revolution is happening right now. You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
but I'm definitely hoping that things are gonna get not get back to normal, because there was no normal, but
mm,
I hope that things are gonna get settled and people gonna educate themselves a little bit more about whatever is happening right now,
absolutely.
because definitely it kind of made me upset to see how ignorant people were. So I was like, this is really weird, because I'm an immigrant here and
Mm,
I see those problems. you know I don't
yeah,
want to get into politics a lot, but I
yeah,
love New York, and I'm just worried whatever is happening right now, but
I
I
got
think it's a good change.
it. Yeah, can't wait to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, after now, if I'm gonna mention quarantine, like, things are not gonna be normal for a while. I know a lot of musicians, a lot of my fellow musician friends who or immigrated, or even from United States, just moved to New York, are moving back to their hometowns or home countries, because the clubs, a lot of clubs just don't have gigs clearly, or some of them even bankrupt, and there's government does not support musicians
Mm,
right now. They support unemployed people, but not all the musicians have rights to certain things. You have to, it's a lot.
it's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot. So I'm definitely going to take my time and maybe do a lot of homework while I'm with my parents right now back in Russia,
Yeah.
and try to write more music for a new record, because I was supposed to record in 2020, but now things are kind of under a big
Kind of
question mark,
awkward.
which is okay. Everything kind of shifted, everybody's in this situation, so
Take your
I
time.
almost feel selfish. Yeah, I mean, as long as we're all healthy and
That's
alive, and
And I guess
yeah.
I'll finish with this one last question. Would you ever consider playing at the Montreal Jazz Festival so that the people here can
Oh,
see you?
yeah. I want to go there really badly. Of course. No, I was supposed to go with Starkey Puppy. I was supposed to go to Canada. They invited me this 2020 or 2019, I think. They invited me
I think
whenever they were there last.
Place des Arts, I think. I remember when they
Uh,
came down. Yeah.
yeah, whenever was the last time they were there. I was supposed to go, but the thing is that they invited me a little bit late.
Uh,
And in order to get a Canadian visa, you need a lot of time, apparently. So I couldn't do it because of the visa. Yeah. But I was really upset, because I never been, and I just wanna, I wanna go, and Larnell Lewis is from there, I wanna
yeah,
go.
he's representing us well.
Yeah, man. He is definitely one of the top drummers in the world. I'm
What a
sure there is a
machine.
scene.
What a machine.
Yeah. And one of the best human beings ever.
Yeah?
It's amazing when a person is that talented and also that great of a person, and his family is amazing, and yeah,
Yeah.
another reason to visit Canada.
Yeah. I think he's from Ontario, right? I
What
think
is it?
I think he's from Ontario, the province of Ontario.
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure. I
Okay.
have to do my research now. I feel like, yeah, I have to do
No.
my research.
But well, okay, that's, I guess, this interview was supposed to be like 10 minutes, but we got into this conversation. I'm so happy we did.
Man.
And
Anytime.
I'm going to show this to everybody. And thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate it. And we
Thank you.
see you in Canada as soon as you can get here.
Let me know in advance. I'm gonna get my
I
visa.
will. I will. Anyways,
Thank you so much.
stay safe, stay healthy. All the best.
You too. You too. All the best.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.